He thought 3 words could end my world. But he had no idea he was ending his own. The moment he said, "Let's call off the wedding," Luna's back, something inside me didn't break, it awakened. I never imagined the man I once loved would look at me with that cold, distant expression. The same expression he used on strangers, or employees he planned to fire. But that morning, he used it on me. And perhaps that was the moment I realized he had never truly seen me at all. It was early, the kind of morning when the sun was still soft, when the world smelt like new beginnings. I stood at the kitchen island, wearing his oversized shirt, making coffee like any fiancé preparing for a peaceful day. The ring on my finger glimmered with a promise I had believed, a promise I had fought for. But it took him less than 10 seconds to shatter it. He didn't clear his throat. He didn't soften his voice. He simply stood there, leaning on the doorway like he'd rehearsed every word. "Luna's back," he said. "Let's call off the wedding." For a moment, time froze. The coffee machine hummed beneath my fingertips, the aroma of freshly ground beans filling the silence he had created. My heart didn't race. My breath didn't hitch. My hands didn't tremble. Instead, I turned slowly, meeting his eyes, memorizing the man I had loved for 3 years, his sharp jaw, his storm gray eyes, the scar on his eyebrow he got in college. The man who had once sworn he would protect me. The man who once told me I was his only peace. Now he couldn't even pretend to love me. I waited for the pain to hit, for the heartbreak to crush my ribs, for tears to blur my vision. But none came. Instead, something dark, cold, and liberating slithered up my spine. I smiled, a small, calculated, dangerous smile. He frowned the moment he saw it, confusion tugging at his brows, like Head expected me to fall apart at his feet, to beg him not to leave me, to sob over the ghost of a woman Head never stopped grieving. "Did you hear what I said?" he demanded. "Oh, I heard you," I said softly. "I just think it's insane." His jaw ticked. "What's insane about it? Luna and I—" "Yes?" I interrupted. "Luna, your past, the woman who disappeared without a trace, the one you claimed you weren't waiting for anymore, the one you said you let go of. Her." His silence was confirmation. He never let her go. Not even when he put a ring on my finger. Not when he introduced me to his family. Not when we built a life together. I had been a placeholder. A comforting lie, he told himself, so he could pretend Head healed. But he didn't know something ID kept buried for 2 years. Something bigger than both of us. Something that was going to rip through his perfectly tidy world very, very soon. He had no idea how insane he truly was. "So," I said, pouring coffee into 2 mugs, my movements unshaken. "You're calling off the wedding? Just like that?" "Yes," he said, lifting his chin. "It's the right thing to do. For both of us." "For both of us?" I almost laughed. "You don't get to decide that." His eyes flashed irritation. "I'm trying to be honest. Don't make this any harder." "Oh, trust me," I murmured, sliding his mug across the counter. "You haven't seen hard yet." He ignored the comment and reached for the mug, but his hand paused midair. He was studying me. No tears, no despair, no heartbreak, just calm, terrifying calm. "What's wrong with you?" he muttered. "You're not even—" "Crying," I supplied, begging, asking what she said. "If she's staying, if you love her, if you still want me?" His jaw locked. "That's what you expected," I said. "Isn't it?" He looked away. I let the silence stretch, letting him drown in it. "You know," I continued pleasantly, "for a man who always believed he was smarter than everyone, you're surprisingly slow." His eyes snapped back to mine. "What the hell does that mean?" "It means," I said, taking a sip of my coffee, "you should be careful what you throw away. Some things don't come back once you lose them." "Are you threatening me?" he asked sharply. I smiled. Again, the smile that finally made him step back. "No," I murmured. "I don't need to threaten you. Life will handle it on my behalf." He opened his mouth, probably to spit some noble nonsense about doing the honorable thing, about following his heart, about fate bringing Luna back. But the doorbell cut him off, a sharp, urgent ring. His eyes flickered with hope. He didn't move, but I saw it in the way his breath hitched, the way his shoulders tensed, the way his pupils widened. It wasn't just hope. It was guilt living beneath hope. "Expecting someone?" I asked casually. He swallowed. "No, but he lied." Oh, he lied so easily. I watched him walk toward the door, every step heavy with anticipation, like a man walking toward the person he lost long ago. He reached for the door handle. I leaned against the wall, arms crossed, heart steady, because I already knew who was behind that door. I knew before he opened it. I knew before he exhaled sharply. I knew before he whispered, "Luna." But the woman standing at our doorstep was not the Luna he remembered. She looked like a ghost wearing human skin, pale, exhausted, eyes sunken but still burning with a ferocious fire. Her clothes were worn, her hands trembling, her lips split. She looked like someone who had run barefoot through hell and barely crawled back. And she wasn't alone. Behind her stood a young boy, a boy with storm-gray eyes. The same storm-gray eyes as the man standing beside me. The silence that followed was the kind that splits worlds open. He staggered back, staring at the child like he'd seen a ghost. Who is he?" he choked out. Luna lifted her chin. "Your son." The words crashed through the room like a violent wave. I watched his face crumble, shock, fear, guilt, hope, confusion all battling inside him. He turned to me as if expecting horror or betrayal or heartbreak. But I stood there calmly. I had known about the child long before he did. I had known the truth before Luna ever returned. And that truth was only the beginning. His breathing quickened. This can't be." Luna stepped inside, her voice shaking but strong. "Has yours, and we need help." He stumbled forward, reaching toward the boy, tears forming in his eyes. I watched him fall apart. I watched the man who tried to end my world have his own world detonated in seconds. And yet, it wasn't enough. Not yet. Because the truth, the entire truth, hadn't been revealed. Not the truth about Luna's disappearance, not the truth about the child, not the truth about why she came back, and certainly not the truth about me. He didn't know what I'd done, what I'd discovered, what I'd planned. He had no idea that everything he believed, every assumption he held, every decision he made was about to collapse. And I would be the one holding the matches. He looked at me with wide, desperate eyes. "Please, say something." I stepped closer, meeting his gaze without blinking. "You were right," I whispered. "We should call off the wedding." His mouth fell open, but not for the reasons you think. His brows pulled together. "What does that mean?" I leaned in, my voice so soft it sliced. "It means, my love, that your past is about to ruin more than just your future." The boy looked up at me, curious, confused, unafraid. Luna's eyes filled with tears as she watched him cling to her leg, and he just stood there, lost, broken, overwhelmed. I turned away, grabbing my bag, slipping on my shoes, walking toward the door without a backward glance. "Where are you going?" he demanded, panic creeping into his voice. I paused, looked over my shoulder, and gave him the final truth of the day. "To bring back someone you never knew existed," I said quietly. "Someone who will change everything." He blinked. "Who?" I smiled. "You'll find out soon." Then I closed the door behind me, letting it echo through the hall like a warning. He had no idea what was coming. And that was the most beautiful part. He expected me to fall apart. He expected me to beg. But I walked into that hall with the one person he never thought I would return with. The person whose existence would shatter his life the way he once shattered mine. I didn't look back as I left the house. The morning air hit my face, cool and sharp, grounding me in a way his presence never could. My steps were steady, purposeful, the click of my heels on the pavement echoing the rise of something inside. Me, something fierce, something long overdue. He thought Luna's return was the earthquake, but I was the tsunami that followed. The car ride was silent, the roads a blur, my mind focused entirely on what came next. The person I was going to see lived across town, far from the polished world he and I had built together. A world made of fragile lies. A world I no longer needed. When I reached the small old building, I climbed the stairs slowly. Every step felt symbolic, like I was climbing out of who I used to be. I knocked once. A few seconds later, the door opened. There he stood, Ezra. His eyes widened when he saw me, shock flickering across his features. His hair was messy, as always. His shirt was wrinkled, but his presence, steady, solid, familiar in a way I had forgotten people could be. "You came," he breathed. "I said I would," I replied. His gaze searched mine, looking for cracks, for desperation, for pain. But all he found was resolve. "What happened?" he asked quietly, stepping aside to let me in. I walked past him, the scent of old books and fresh coffee filling the room. His apartment was cramped but warm, a stark contrast to the cold, minimalist mansion I'd left behind. He told me the wedding's off, I said, sitting on the couch. Ezra froze. His jaw clenched, his hands curled into fists. And Luna? He asked. She showed up, I said. He shut his eyes for a moment. With the boy? Yes. Ezra cursed under his breath, pacing. He doesn't deserve you. He never did. I know, I said simply. He stopped pacing and looked at me. Really looked at me. So, why are you here? I met his gaze without hesitation. Because you were right, I said. About everything. He blinked. About him? About Luna? About the child? About the truth, I whispered. About the part of the story no one knows. The part he never saw coming. Ezra inhaled sharply, then slowly exhaled, bracing himself. Are you sure you want to do this? I don't want to, I admitted. But I have to. Ezra nodded. Then let's go. He grabbed his jacket, and together we walked out of the apartment, down the stairs into the day that would turn everything upside down. Because the truth wasn't just about Luna. It wasn't just about the child. It was about the reason Luna disappeared. The reason she returned. And the reason I had been brought into this tangled mess of a story in the first place. A truth that connected all of us in ways he never imagined. And today he was going to face all of it. The hall we walked into wasn't grand or elegant. It was a community center, plain walls, plastic chairs, old fans, and a beaten wooden floor. But it wasn't the place that mattered. It was who was inside. Luna sat at the front of the room, clutching her son's hand like a lifeline. Her eyes were red, her face pale, but she held herself with a strange mixture of fear and determination. The boy leaned against her, exhausted, overwhelmed. And beside them, he stood. The man who had broken me hours ago now looked completely different. Haunted, shaken, fragile. When he saw me walk in, his eyes widened, hope and dread mixing together. Then he saw Ezra behind me. Confusion, suspicion, something almost like jealousy. What is this? He demanded, voice tight. I walked into the center of the room, letting every pair of eyes rest on me. Ezra stayed behind me, silent, steady. A shadow that had protected me for years without me knowing how deeply. You want answers? I said softly. You'll get them. I don't understand, he said. Why is he here? Why are you with him? My lips twitched. Because Ezra was the first person to know the truth. Long before you knew anything. His brows furrowed. Truth about what? Luna, I said. Her disappearance. Her return. The child. And you. He looked between us like we were speaking another language. Just tell me. I approached Luna. She looked up at me, eyes trembling. I knelt beside her. Are you ready? I whispered. She nodded, tears sliding silently down her cheeks. I stood and faced him. Luna wasn't kidnapped, I said. His knees wobbled. What? She didn't leave because she wanted to start a new life. She didn't vanish because she stopped loving you. He swallowed hard. Then why? Because she was running from the man who tried to destroy her life, I said. A man with money, power, connections. Someone she couldn't fight alone. He shook his head. You're lying. Who? Your father. The room went silent. He stared at me like I had slapped him. My father? He would never. He bribed her, Luna whispered shakily, speaking for the first time threatened me. Told me to disappear. Told me if I truly loved you, I would leave you so you could focus on your career, your inheritance, your responsibilities. His breath hitched. No, he wouldn't. He said he'd ruin me if I stayed, Luna said, voice cracking. He said he'd make sure the world believed I was unstable. That I was a danger to you, to myself. He threatened our son. The boy pressed his face into her side. He took a step back like reality itself had punched him. My father? He whispered. I nodded. He didn't want her to destroy your future. A child born from a woman he didn't approve of? A scandal? A threat to your reputation? He wanted her gone, permanently. He staggered to a chair and collapsed into it. Ezra stepped forward. She came to me the day before she disappeared. I was the only one she could trust. I helped her leave. I kept the secret. I protected them. My fiancé looked up at Ezra with raw hurt. Why didn't you tell me? Because she begged me not to, Ezra said. She thought telling you would ruin you. She believed you deserved protection too. He buried his face in his hands. And me? I said quietly. You want to know where I fit in? He looked up slowly. I didn't enter your life by accident, I said. I met you through your father, through a setup. He thought I was safe. He thought I was a distraction. Someone he could control. Someone you'd settle with while Luna stayed gone. His eyes filled with horror. No, that can't be, but he underestimated me, I whispered. And he underestimated the power of truth. His tears spilled now hot, helpless, broken. So you knew, he breathed. You knew everything, and you didn't tell me. I held his gaze. Because it wasn't my secret to tell. He looked at the ground, trembling. All these years, everything I believed, everything I built, a lie, I said gently. But not your fault. He looked up at me desperately. But why did you stay with me for so long? For Luna, I said. For the boy, for the truth. I stayed to make sure your father didn't find them again. I stayed to protect them. He blinked hard. And now? Now, I said, stepping closer, you get to choose what kind of man you want to be. He stared at me like the world had been pulled out from beneath him. Luna reached for his hand. We didn't come back to ruin you. We came back because we have nowhere else to run. He looked between us, Luna, me, Ezra, the child every piece of the story finally uncovered. His voice cracked. What do I do now? I placed a hand over my heart. You protect them, I said softly. You face your father. You fight for your child. You become the man Luna believed you could be, and the man I hoped you'd be. And you? He whispered, terrified of the answer. I smiled sadly. I walk away. His face crumpled. You and I were never meant to last, I said. We were a bridge, a chapter, a necessary detour. But not the ending. He shook his head, tears falling. I don't want to lose you too. You already did, I whispered. Long before today. Ezra stepped beside me, silent but unwavering. He looked at Ezra, realization settling in. You love her. Ezra didn't flinch. I always have. I turned toward the door. This isn't a goodbye, I said. It's your beginning. And I walked out, Ezra at my side, not broken, not defeated, but free. Behind us, he fell to his knees, clutching the truth he never expected, and the family he almost lost. And for the first time in a long time, everything finally made sense.